Hello. I'd like to talk about Antoine de Saint-Exupery. He is my hero when I was in high school, when I was probably 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. I became interested in him because he's an aviator. Um, he was a pilot, and also he was writing books about his own experience, based on his own experience. And so why I'm interested in aviation is something completely independent of his work. I think when I was a kid, I think I wanted to be an airliner pilot, and I decided to become one. However, like a junior high school, in high school, my eyesight went kind of very, very bad. Had to wear glasses and so forth, and therefore I had to give up. But I decided to go into the more technical engineering field of aeronautical engineering, and so that's what I did. But the passion of that particular thing was something I can't explain even today, why I became so enthusiastic about becoming a pilot. I think mostly, I think you can go outside of Japan and to see the world, all over the world, which was my dream, right? To escape from the small world to the bigger world. And I think that's one of the reasons. But more than that, I think you kind of flying as an activity is like a more or less like a sublime or sublime experience, or the job you can get, the highest quality job. Because to be a pilot, for example, you have to be physically fit, 100%. You have to have this capability of recognitions, eyes and hand coordination, quick responses, and a very smart mind, and you have to have a good judgmental skill in emergency, and all these things. Psychologically, you have to be also very tough, and you have to handle all kinds of difficult situations. And that particular Superman-like quality is more or less like I was kind of attracted to it. And so when I was in high school, I got acquainted with his book called Night Flight. And that was like one of the most beautiful books I ever read at that time. And it's like you are flying during the night. You're recognizing there are all these houses below you, and you kind of thinking of this each individual house. There's each individual life, very different from each other, and recognizing all these things, and you are flying and so forth. And then Terre, which is he wrote this a little bit later. He went to he's a French anyway. He went to Argentina, and he worked there for a while, and he, based on that experience there as a pilot, I think he was delivering the mail services using airplane, and he crashed so many times himself, but he survived. But he, in his Terre, which is a land of men, he described this friends who crashed in the desert and then walked like how many days, like 14 days or whatever, and survived himself with it's like a skeleton, look like appearance, and he survived. And he described those things beautifully and very philosophical, and it's beautiful. And so I kind of fell in love with his world and his philosophy and his skill of creating that kind of a beauty. And so Saint-Exupery was like my hero for a long, long time. After I, gave up on becoming the airline pilot, but my love for the airline industries or designing airplanes and meeting with those air pilots with admiration has lasted for a long, long time. And so for that, I think, come to think of it, I didn't become an air pilot, even though I had experience of flying, not myself, but somebody is flying and I boarded, and I did test flight type of thing and designed airplanes and so forth. But after when I was 25, 26, those dreams, those vision became very questionable, because I started to fear the flying. Not only I became I'm a passenger as in the airliner, I was kind of afraid, because I think there's some airliner crash occurred at that time, and so many people died. And I felt like, wow, yeah, it's very stressful. And I have a friend who also flying, who was piloting, and this other guy was beside him. Two people were flying this small airplane, and the plane crashed, and he survived, but the friend died. And all these things that came to my attention, and wow, for me it was so stressful, and so I went to the other field after that. And so, but the love of this particular thing, I think still I fondly remember, and I still love them, but it's not the same enthusiasm or same intensity, but it's more or less like a bittersweet memory type of thing. And so anyway, so Antoine Saint-Exupery himself loved flying, and he himself, I think he crashed and died somewhere in the ocean. And the plane went down, and his airplane was much later found in the bottom of the ocean, and it has engraved. His name was engraved, like a bracelet was found, and that's why they realized that was Saint-Exupery's airplane. But anyway, so it became like a bittersweet. I think it's a very, very hard condition I have to give up, because I didn't have a good eyesight or whatever, and just because it was so difficult to become an airliner pilot. And in Japan, for example, there is a special university for those people to go to, and that particular university is very prestigious. When you graduate from there, you are guaranteed to become an airliner pilot, and you are like the top of the this profession, and I admired them tremendously, and I met several people who graduated from there, even though some of them are kind of not the winner. That means he wasn't chosen to be a pilot of the major airliner company, but he was doing some other job of like a test pilot or something like that. But even then, they are much like a superhuman, and I admired them, and it's a bittersweet dream of my youth, and I still, whenever I think about it, become bittersweet. And Saint-Exupery's books is beautiful, but it's very like a strong admiration of the flying, and you are pretty much like not addiction, but your dedication become like your life. And so that kind of a life is more or less like I couldn't get along, and I am more like a peaceful person, and I think easy way out. Whenever I had a difficulty, I had to go to the other route to have a much more peaceful life, and that's why I have chosen after my initial attempt to become an airliner pilot crumbled. And but I'm glad that happened, because yes, indeed, it is beautiful and it is very nice, strong, if you are capable of doing it. If you are talented, smart, and physically fit, perfect physical coordinations and everything, you have that particular quality. Of course, you love that particular profession. But if you're not, it is so difficult and it's so amazingly disappointing. And probably that's explained all my life story there, right? Okay, so that's my story today. But Saint-Exupery also wrote the famous book called Little Prince, the Petit Prince. That is about the pilot crashed in the Sahara Desert, and all of a sudden he realized he met this little boy, little prince, and trying to show him how the world is going to be, should be, or what he sees as a beauty, what he sees is something more, like above the human world. I think this particular prince, little prince, came from other planet and landed to the Sahara Desert, and it happened that airplane was crashed, and that's when he meets this little prince. But it's a beautiful book. This particular book is also illustrated by Saint-Exupery. So this particular book is available today, and many people like this book, and I like that. But for a long time, I didn't see the meaning of anything, and I still don't see the meaning of the particular story. But it's a beautiful story, a beautiful book. So at least you can read the Little Prince, and then also Night Flight, and the Terre, which is a land of man. I think wind, the sun, or something like that. The English translation title is something a little bit different, but you can do the Google and find out what the book is. And it's a beautiful book, and it got the award during that time that he was alive. Okay, so that's my views sense today. Bye.